Hi guys, I'm so happy you're joining us here at the West Elmira Library for Thursday night cooking lesson. So we're doing this if you're watching at 7 o'clock. Hopefully every week after this you can join us. My name is Ahnece and I like to share some little tricks that I do. And I have told the first time I did this that I don't use recipes, and I don't. So this isn't to write down a recipe. If you have any questions, you can always contact us through Facebook. I just love cooking. I just love it, and anyone can do it. And so today we're gonna do something simple. Something that you could make for like a brunch, a side dish, whatever you want. You can make it for a big Thanksgiving dinner and make a lot, or you can make a little. So we're gonna get started, and before we do that, one thing I always do is lint roll. I lint roll my scrunchie, which I already did, and I brush my hair back because I absolutely do not want hair in my food. And I've been doing this for many years, and it works for me. I would be so interested if you guys tried it and it worked for you. So that's it. My hair is up. I got my lint roll. I just take my ends and all around, pull my sleeves down. The hair can get stuck anywhere. Perfection. I'm ready. And another thing I enjoy about cooking is I can always grab an apron. I have lots of these. I use different ones, but this one I'm saving for the library, and I'm gonna wear it every time with you guys. So, everything's sanitized. We're just gonna get started. We are doing roasted potatoes. Now, I like to do things that are simple. You might not think it's simple if you haven't done it before, but please, honestly, it's simple. Check this out. You take a bag. They have them now in the store. Potatoes. I don't really want to show the label so much, so I'm going to kind of hide it. They come in a bag and they're steamable. It gives all the directions on the back. I come home, I throw this in the microwave. I do not put it in the amount it says. I don't want mushy potatoes. This actually says 8 to 10, depending on your microwave. I put it in for 6, and my microwave's like, I'd say medium. So, these are already been done in the microwave. I'm gonna use this aluminum foil. I'm going to mix in this, so I don't have any mess. I have my trusty paper plate. So I'm just going to cut this open. They are wet because of the moisture for the steaming. So I have my paper towels and my trusty paper plate. And I'm just going to take the paper towel and dump them on there and kind of pat them dry. Woo! Slippery little sucker. Perfect. Now, if you were going to do a huge amount, a big Thanksgiving or a ton for a brunch, you're going to want more than one bag. So then I just kind of pat them. There's nothing wrong with them having some moisture. I just don't want them to get too mushy, and that's what can happen when they start cooking. So, there's my potatoes. And now I'm going to cut them very quickly on one of my trusty paper plates. Just a regular old knife, whatever. This is actually my favorite. Now, these are already cleaned and washed according to the bag. Depending how you feel about it, if for some reason you're very concerned, you can go through and take all the little bad spots out. But the healthiest part of a potato is the skin, and red skins are supposed to be the best, so that's what I get. And I cut it in half, and then I cut it in quarters. Now, that's a little big for me. I do some big, I call this big, And then I do some a little smaller because I like crunchy ones. And it's nice to have some for everybody. Not everybody likes crunchy. So, this does not take long at all. Just take them like this. And then what I do is put them in the pan. Set these over here with olive oil. I like lots of olive oil, lots of different kinds. However, for cooking, I just like to do a light olive oil. And I'm just going to cover my pan. You do not want to put too much in because they won't get crunchy until the oil is kind of cooked in. So I'm going to make sure the whole bottom is covered. And then I toss my potatoes in. So I'm going to do a few more. Let you see. I just half. If they're too large, half again. And if you get a really big one, which we really don't have a really large one, but this is what I do. I do the end, the middle, and the end. And then quarter them. And if they're still a little too big for you, it depends on what you like. This is your cooking. You can go like that and do them in halves. Just however you'd like. I like mine to kind of look uniform. I just kind of like them looking all the same. So that's that. So then, obviously, you would finish all your potatoes. And if you're feeding a large amount, you would need more. But for us today, I'm just going to show you, I love these aluminum pans because I have to do my dishes and I don't like to have the kitchen a huge mess. So for cleanup, I don't have to really worry. I even mix in this. I used to mix in a big bowl and then I'm like, are you kidding? I can use this. So a little salt in my little mise en place. I like sea salt. I like coarse. This is not coarse because this is what I had here at the library, but at home I have coarse. So a little sea salt. Once again, if you've watched in the past, I have my trusty towel I can wipe my hands on. Stay clean. So, salt, fresh ground pepper. I prefer fresh ground. I think it tastes better. If you ever want to test it out, take some that comes in a can, pour a little out, and then do this and see what makes you sneeze. It'll be the fresh ground. So you don't have to put a ton on. I kind of like a lot, but I am not the only one eating this. So anyone can add salt or pepper afterwards. So you do not want to do too much. Now, if I am serving this with something else and it has a lot of garlic or onion in it, I won't add garlic or onion to this. But if I'm doing this just solo or I know like what I'm going to have and it's not really going to have a lot of that spice, that taste, I will add a little onion and a little garlic. So for today, just to let you know, I'm going to show you, it's just a dash. We're not eating onions and we're not eating garlic cloves. We're eating potatoes. Perfect. All right. And then oregano. Just oregano. You can do fresh if you have it. Fresh kind of burns. If you want to use a fresh herb, a really great herb with this recipe is rosemary. Buy it fresh from the store. You have to chop it up, but it works very well. However, I like to use fresh. I like to use my own, and I don't have any of that right now. This is an excellent backup. I used this for this Easter, and everyone's like, how did you make those potatoes? I'm like, oh, it was easy. So, my hands are clean. I just mix with my hands. Now, because I did not cook those potatoes in the bag for a long time, they are not mushy. So I can actually rub them a little bit and they don't fall apart. And that kind of gets the flavor in, and it's not gonna make them mushy. So I do that. You might think it's messy, but you know, cooking can be messy. So I just rub them, make sure they're all covered, and then I would have this whole pan filled, but I wouldn't have them piled on top of each other. I spread them out. So I'm going to wipe my hands on one of my trusty paper towels, and I'm gonna try to show you what this looks like. So let's see. You know what? They're gonna kind of go to the bottom because it's gonna be easier to show you, and then just move them back to the middle. And I guess I'm gonna use my hands again. Perfect. Then you put them in the oven. Now, the oven, everybody's oven's different. The temperatures are different. Yours could be broken. I can't tell you what temperature to use. I start out with 350, and then I keep an eye on it. After 10 minutes, I check it out. I like my potatoes to be crunchy, so I do about 375 for, say, maybe 20 minutes. You can always check them with a fork, and then I put them in the broiler. And I usually start with low, and this is kind of time consuming, but so easy. You just stand in the kitchen and you keep checking your oven and checking your oven. And while you're doing that, the heat's escaping. So that's part of the whole temperature heat issue. It really doesn't take that long. Within 5 minutes, if you have a good broiler, they're done. So that's it. That's potatoes. Now, since that was short and sweet, depending on if you're doing a brunch, anything actually, I love cheese. So we'll put these in the oven and we'll let those bake. And I really enjoy using fresh products. I like to support the local people. It tastes better to me. So I have a little surprise. We're gonna pretend we're preparing a brunch, a Sunday brunch. We're gonna have the roasted potatoes with fresh oregano or dried, but you can just say fresh. And we are gonna have apples. These apples actually came from the farmer's market in Ithaca. So, once again, you can see spots and stuff on them. They've been washed. If you try to find a perfect apple, it's not going to taste as good. I can promise you that. So, one of my trusty paper plates. I'm going to take my knife. Of course, I'm going to wipe it off. Perfect. And I take the side, the other side, and then the ends. And you have the core left. I don't like to waste that, so I nibble on the core. I won't do that for you, but I will. Now, if you've ever worked with apples, you'll know they turn brown quickly. So, I have some lemon juice. This is a trick. You just take a little lemon juice and pour it on the apples. I always leave extra on my plate and then just mix it in. So even before I slice them for presentation, I get that lemon juice on them quickly. So I don't want them brown. And then I just take them like this and do nice little slices like that. And when I'm done slicing, I toss them in the juice. So just like this, super easy. And then, before I put them on the platter that I am going to serve them on, I take them off the plate and put them on a drier plate because we're not trying to taste lemon juice. We're trying to taste an apple. So, just kind of like drain them a bit, and I'm going to toss them over here on one of my trusty paper plates. Boom. Now, done with that. I'm going to save this lemon juice because I have more apples for later on. Now, back to the Ithaca's Farmers Market. I purchased some awesome cheese. Perfect thing for a brunch, appetizer, snack. Cheese is awesome. Local, homemade, organic cheese is really super good, but you know what? In the stores you can get really good cheese too. So I have my trusty scissors. This is baby Swiss butternut. Just gonna cut it open. I'm going to save the package. See that? To put it back in, and then I put it in a Ziploc also. And I'm going to open this one, which is, let's see, Farmstead cheese. This is a creamy cheese. I'm not going to expect anyone to spread it for your whomever you're feeding, your family, your friends, your loved ones. I'm just going to cut it. So I'm going to take another trusty paper plate. Move my apples aside. If you have extra apples, these are a very great thing to put on your table as a decoration. And I have a thing about mixing flavors, so I want to keep this one separate. Just gonna slice, and see, it broke on its own. Otherwise, I would slice it at an angle so it just has a little character to it rather than just coming off. So that one came too. And then I would slice this. Let's see how this breaks off. We won't mix. We will wipe our knife on the trusty paper towel. And let's see. Ooh. This is Swiss, the baby Swiss, and you can tell because Swiss usually has holes. You might not be able to see that at home. Swiss also quite often comes in a triangle. Now, you don't have to cut all your cheese because depending on when people arrive, when you're serving, it's always good afterwards. This is good with dessert and coffee. If you don't cut it all up, it doesn't get like dry around the sides. So I'm not going to cut this one up. I'm going to grab a little cheese board and I am just going to put this out with a knife, not allowing my knife to go. And then I will just let whomever I am entertaining know what kind of cheese it is. So I like to decorate. So I'm going to put like this cheese here, those little, and then my apples here in the middle. And then of course, you're going to want something for them to pick it up with. So you can use tongs. I actually use little pokers. And then I'll have a knife with that. Perfect. Local, awesome, protein, veggie, and we have starch with the potatoes. So that's part of our lesson for today. Super easy. And now we're going to grab the potatoes from the oven. Guess what? There's no oven here. But I brought them from home. So I wanted to share with you. This is not exactly how it's going to be at your home because it's going to be piping hot. But for here, I did them about an hour ago, and I will try to show you. I had spread them around. I put them under the broiler. Always less is better because you can add. So if for some reason you feel like you need more oil, you can always put it in. But we're not trying to eat olive oil either. So you don't need to, oops, did you see that? We have a running potato. That's okay. One other thing I wanted to share with you is I super enjoy using things from rummage sales or estate sales or even Salvation Armies. I like beautiful little dishes. So This little green dish, I'm going to put my potatoes in. And I'm going to just, now this is obviously a small dish, which is what I did at Easter time because I only did 2 bags thinking that would be enough. It was gone before the ham was even sliced. These things go crazy. So I put them in a little dish and I'm going to toss this one even though that's clean. Wipe my counter space. And that's our little short and sweet local presentation. Local cheese, local apples, a couple hints, the lemon juice, easy potatoes, especially if you buy the bagged ones. And that's it. Looks great to me. I hope you enjoyed that. Before I go, I just want to let you know, we're here at the West Elmira Library, 7 o'clock on Thursdays, and you can come in anytime if you have any questions. And we have cookbooks here. Imagine that. And I have 2 I am going to show you. This one is on apples, and this one is on hors d'oeuvres. So we have apples and hors d'oeuvres. Or like I said, if you want to do any of this for a large group, you can always just make it bigger. So I will see you guys next week on Thursday at 7 p.m. And thank you very much for coming.